How many books do you need to sell or give away for free to be either #1 Amazon bestseller from a paid view or from a free download view? Here's an example. What if you were number 1,000 in Kindle? That's actually really good. You would be selling roughly 70 to 140 books a day. Now, what if you're 50,000? Not bad. It's still 2 to 5 books. And what if you're 500,000? Well, that means you're selling only one book every maybe 3 to 14 days. What this shows you is that Amazon's ranking curve is very, very steep. That the Amazon rank can tell us a lot about a book's current level of commercial activity. What does Amazon ranking actually measure? An Amazon rank is more like a speedometer than an odometer. You're not tracking the history of time of the sales, even Amazon data will tell you that. The sales ranking is how quickly or fast you're selling it at any given period. All about current momentum of your books. Rankings shift and change based on these factors. Seasonality. Are there major releases you're competing against? Any other promotional events, or like BookBub? Every time a BookBub email comes out, you're going to see they're going to rise in the rankings as part of that. Prime events, Christmas, general market activity, all those are going to affect the velocity of any given genre at any given time. So when I list these numbers, it doesn't necessarily mean that those are exactly the number of copies you're selling today. It's just that it's normalized to that type of sales activity. This doesn't apply to category rankings. This is more overall Kindle rank. Using my data and applying it with generative AI, I'm finding the best estimate to be #1 is a lot. It's roughly about 6,000 units a day, and a reasonable range could be 4,000 to 10,000, depending on what books are out there and selling at the moment. 100,000 could be roughly one a day, and the million is maybe 1 or 2 a month, if that, and you can go lower. If you're an indie author and you're getting book sales and your ranking is roughly around 50,000, that's actually not too bad. It still represents roughly 1,000 units a year. And if you go by some of the published examples, most indie authors per book only sell about 250 units a year. So if you can somehow maintain that 50,000 marker, you're actually doing 4 times better than most other indie books on average. How confident can I be in my projections here? Well, Amazon doesn't publish it, so I feel like I have a moderate confidence level in the range. Books with the same rank could actually have different sales. So if a book is rising in this example, or a book is falling, it may actually have a very similar Amazon rank. So you can be #1 in your genre category, but maybe 150,000 overall. That's all relative. They're measuring different things. The overall Kindle rank compares you to all books, all genres, but the category rank only compares you to the books that sell within your category. So a niche category may require relatively few sales to reach #1, but a higher competitive category may require substantially more. Don't use category rank to estimate sales. Do the overall Kindle ranking, and that's going to give you the potential sales number of your competitors. A book reached #1 in your specified category, that's still legitimate. It doesn't say you're an overall Amazon bestseller, but you can truthfully advertise that you've done it in your category. So when you give away your book for free, it's much different and much higher, as you can imagine. So let's dive in. To be the overall free rank to be Amazon #1, and I've done that with free downloads, you do need at least 20,000 to 35,000. I've seen that too. And here's the others for the rank. And of course, for 50,000, it goes as low as maybe 3 roughly a day, and then you're going to go lower beyond that. And you want to be #1. It will depend on who you're competing against at any given time. However, if you're lucky, quiet week, but I've been roughly that 25, 30,000 free downloads. And it's also given me a lot of momentum on my back catalog. So that's actually where I get my sales and my profits, is if I choose to give away a book for free. But I have an entirely other video on free, and I'll let you watch that here. Let's use an example where I did a big BookBub promotion, but I didn't get my good ROI back. I didn't get the return to cover cost. Now we're going to assess whether that was helpful or not. For Miss Me, my second book, now that cost me roughly $760 US in the thriller because they give out to several million. And here's my results. I had gotten from Amazon about 16,000, so about a 67% share of the overall sales that I've done, but I got to approximately the top 10 in its entire free catalog. Eventually, I got to 16,000, and over several days, I stopped dropping down, and I got to number 500. And in particular, Apple was much better, especially even for paid downstream sales in my other book catalog. Now, what I like about this test case is it showed me that Amazon is not the entire industry. Now, like I talked about in the past, Amazon roughly made about 80% of my sales going wide, but recently it's actually dropped down to about 67%, about 2/3. And I've seen a big push with Apple. Now, it's going to depend on your genre and your book, but it's interesting going wide. If I hadn't, I would have lost 30% of my potential earnings simply by not going wide. How can you benchmark for your book? You can look at comparable books in your genre. You can check their overall Kindle rankings, and now you're going to have a rough estimate of what it's going to take to get there. And remember, when your book isn't selling and it's dropped down into 1 million or less in rankings, there are relatively easy ways through promotions to get it much higher, much quicker. You're definitely going to scale the rankings faster with even just additional few more sales. Now, of course, to get to the very high numbers, you're going to have to do a lot more. And 50,000 is certainly doable, that ranking, but when you get up to 10,000 or less, that's going to be a lot of more effort for you to get there. You're going to find your sales ranking is going to be almost like ocean waves, depending on how you're advertising your books. It's going to be very sporadic. It depends on my promotional cycles, whether I go up in high sales or not. So I tend to be more episodic in my sales versus a long-term high ranking. But that's just my marketing style and what I'm doing. And it's going to be different for you. Keep in mind, just because you reach a certain rank, you're not going to stay there. And let's say even if you descend to one of the worst ranks you've found, doesn't mean you're going to stay there as well. There are tips to rise you up right to the top. Well, if you like this video, click like and subscribe. Happy writing.